Soul Knight has released a new update, and it's been about a week. As you can see, they added a new map with new bosses, there's new armor, new gear, and there's a new class, the Herbalist class. It is a paid class, so you do need to spend money for it, but it'll probably cost gems after the season, which is going to be in like 3 months, so it's essentially a paid class. They added 4 new subclasses, and today we're going to be talking about Fast Rider. So initially, I wanted to make this just a pure guide on how to reach Carnelian with Fast Rider, how to use like the best gear for it, best layout, best mastery tree. But as I've come to realize, people hate Fast Rider. It is a bad class and it has many issues. It's not the worst class of the 4, which would probably be Wild Walker, but essentially, Fast Rider has an issue where his 2 side classes, which is Archer and Herbalist, they don't mix well with each other because one is poison damage, which is elemental, and the other is physical damage, which is arrow damage, and they don't synergize. It doesn't help that his synergy, like his subclass skills, the Fast Rider skills, don't really mix well with any of the sides, really. Maybe more of poison, but we'll talk more about that later. And of course, as a result, he likes damage, which you can see from the lowest comment. Literally just cannot handle the new difficulties of the new content. So that is an issue. He does need some balancing, but if you still like Fast Rider, stick on to this video. I'll talk about how to make him a little bit better and some methods to actually just make him survivable. Just barely survivable and usable. Okay, so first let's just cover the basics of Fast Rider. As I said before, he's arrow damage based and he's poison based. So 2 sides of the wheel, one's poison damage and one is hit damage, which is physical damage and regular damage. They added a new Apex bonus stat thing to the game, so if you want to focus on buffing up Fast Rider, you can go for the regular damage here. I don't think that's physical damage, you can go for strength. Strength and regular damage. A bit of skill cooldown also helps. And then basically all of this is not really needed. You don't need bonus crit chance because his skills kind of give an insane amount already. But if you want more, sure, you can go for it. But yeah, that's all my recommendations of priority. Go for strength, regular damage, and skill cooldown. Skill cooldown is great. It's just nice. Of course, this is prestige though. Okay, now we're going to the skills. So one good thing about Fast Rider is that he actually has 2 dash skills, Tumbling Shot and Front Load. So what is Front Load? Front Load is a dash skill that just pushes you forward and gives you increased movement speed, and your next shot will deal multiple arrows. It's just multiple arrows after your shot, which is cool. Alright, you can also use the Tumbling Shot, but I personally prefer to use Front Load. Tumbling Shot is just the regular Archer Dash, which is just an Archer Dash that pushes you forward and then you just deal damage. Other than that, let's just cover the next thing. Next thing would be he does carry all of the skills from Archer class, which means that you can follow old season characters like Ranger. So you can do stuff like your AoE, Front Load Barrage. This one is your focus skill, which just increases movement speed and physical damage, which is always nice. So these stay the same from Archer. As said, if you have a Season 0 item of Soul Calibur, you can run basically same loadout as Ranger, the Ranger class from Season 1. So if you do have that, like this guy over here, you can just run Soul Calibur, which, if you don't already know, the Fate Bomb buffs Precision Barrage, area and damage, which basically means that you just do a mass amount of AoE with Precision Barrage. So you can see he's running multi-shot, and then they're running what's this, force of it basically just whenever you kill enemy resets your skill cooldowns. So it's just spamming it a lot, and then this Twin Nova, which just casts the skill twice. So you can always run Soul Calibur if you want. I don't really have one, and my Soul Calibur has the wrong fate bounce for this, so I'm just gonna wait until I get one this season. But yeah, you can always do the barrage spam. That's the same from Archer class. Alright, now moving on to the new Herbalist skills. So I'm showing you the physical damage. Alright, now I'm gonna talk about the poison damage. So the way you play Herbalist is that you have Toxin Mastery, which basically allows you to apply multiple stacks of poison at an increased potency. Of course, you have your aura, which increases your poison damage, and then you have this cloud. So what this cloud does is that it puts a giant, like, greenish aura around you, and anyone in this cloud will take poison damage and gain poison ailments. The more poisons that you have, it will increase the potency by 45%. So this cloud is really important. Usually, I don't use it for mass crowds of enemies while clearing. You just use it for fighting bosses, because when I'm at the boss, you want to do as much damage as possible. This is the way you go. Okay, moving on to the Fast Rider classes. So this skill, or this passive, is basically the best thing about Fast Rider, which converts all your marks, which is just this thing that you get when you hit an enemy. Oops, accidentally went in. But yeah, when you hit an enemy, it leaves a mark on them, which is just a passive. And the passive just does nothing. As you level it up, it does things. I didn't really level it up because you don't need to. It just gives you more bonus crit chance, even more, which you don't really need. So you can see like that green thing, which is fits like up to 3. You can see the full circle now. That's the mark. So essentially, what the seeds do is that the seeds convert the mark into a poison ailment, which is great because, you know, he relies on poison damage. So marking them with the poison element is great, and of course it stacks up to 5. So you really want to max this out. Other than that, there's not too much about Fast Rider. There's this skill called Jungle Jeopardy, which is to me, an AoE skill. Essentially, you just throw seeds, and after a while, they will just erupt like that. And they will snare up the opponent, which will stop their movement speed, lock them in place, and of course it does poison damage, which is cool. So yeah, you have your single target, which is your focus damage. You put on the cloud, activate your focus aura and skills, and you just shoot the opponent, and then you do damage. You can see here about 1.4 million in biggest hit. That's the best way to play for fighting bosses. You just activate your skill immediately, and then just start shooting away. So that is the way you play for hit damage. And then compared to area clearing, where I want to clear in an area, I would just instead use my barrage only and my seeds, just throw it around. You don't need to use this skill here, which I have. I kind of just picked it because you need to reach the minimum amount to get Corrosive Cloud and your last trophy hunter. So this is not really needed, the Leaf Storm, that's why I didn't cover it. But you do need the points spent to get there. So that's all this is here for. So yeah, that's how you play fighting and clearing rooms versus just using the cloud. Just a little bit more to cover. We'll go through Hunt Down. Hunt Down basically increases the damage that you deal based on how much life the opponent has left. So the less health they have, the more damage you do, which is great. It gives you a more crit chance. Okay, and Trophy Hunter. So Trophy Hunter is basically not that important. It's just a kill streaking ability. You just need 1 point in it, but I have 2. Essentially, it just increases crit damage for every kill that you've done, up to 3. So that's nice to have. I would put more points into these, but I can't really spare to afford any. I've already taken 1 whole point out of front load, which is it's okay to me. And I didn't even put any points in the aim. So yeah, this is what I'll go with. But in the future, if they somehow add more points for whatever reason, you can just invest them into Trophy Hunter and Hunt Down. Hunt Down probably being the best one. Okay, so now some downsides of this that I want to cover is that you would need to know that when playing him with the skill tree, do not overwrite your poison debuffs. What do I mean by this? So as you can see just now, when I do a hit damage, you can see the poisons are ticking up for about 100k. Okay, this was a bad one. Let me reset. Just wait a little bit for my aura to come back. We'll just wait a little bit. So essentially what I mean is that there's a max stack of 5 poisons, but this stack of 5 poisons, it basically can get overwritten by weaker poisons. So you can see now I've done a few hits, it's taking for about 150k per second. And there's also the shock damage from my Valkyrie boon, but you can see now it's basically run out already, but that takeaway damage can be overwritten by something like Vines. So Vines inflict their own poison. You can see that when they erupt, they're doing barely anything. It's like barely any poison damage. So do keep in mind not to override your poisons. You either want to do one or the other, don't do both. If you do both, you're gonna lose your damage. The best way that I like to fight hard bosses is you place down your cloud, just dash in, do as much damage as you can, and then dash out and run away. Let the damage tick off. As you can see at the bottom right or bottom left, it's just ticking away, and then once they're low, just go back in again, deploy a cloud, do the big damage, and then leave again, and do the same over and over. That's the best way that I like to play Fast Rider. Okay, now moving on to your armor. What is the best Fatebound matchup with him? What can you use? Well, first thing that I would recommend is a new Fatebound from a new boss, is the Airbender. It increases damage of all ailments, including poisons, and you can curse enemies now, which is a new ailment, so you have double the ailments, which is great. So that is nice to have. Of course, I have Onslaught, which is just damage over time skills, which I do have. I have the Poison Cloud. This Onslaught is not as important anymore. It's a little bit weaker than the Airbender Fatebound itself. I would go for 3 out of 3 of the Airbender Fatebound, which I have over here, as you can see. But I kind of already have like too much concentration, so I need to save a little bit. I have one here as well. Okay, next Fatebound that I will talk about is Doombringer. Doombringer increases damage and tick rate of all ailments again, so it's basically a second Darkened Airbender Fatebound. So I would run both, just to ever so raise your poison DPS even more, because it's already so low, you kind of need it to raise. So that's how you can raise your DOT. And then I have one multi-shot, which is just some of the Fatebounds from Ranger or Archer that you can use. I don't really have any at the moment, but I can just go through. Lifesteal is always nice to have, because Lifesteal will just keep you alive as you do damage. Like this, you can have Lifesteal, or Presence of Mind. Presence of Mind is great as well. So you can see just some other Fatebounds. So this is the one that I'm running, it's just high DOT, but you can go for the Ranger Fatebound build. So if I look at the first guy, I believe, it's no longer the first guy, second guy. Yeah, he was using the Soul Calibur, so if you want to go for that kind of matchup, Twin Nova is the best to pair with Barrage, and then Presence of Mind is great, Multi-Shot, and Blowout, I believe. Oh, he has Blowout here. Yeah, so that's just the important thing about the Fatebounds. I guess one thing to note is that if you want to do the health touched, I'm just gonna call it Corrupted because I don't really know how to pronounce it. What does the Corruption do? It basically gives you a second version of the Fatebound that is a little bit weaker, and you only need one pair of. So this is a pair of one. I only need one of it, and it gives me the same bonus as a 2-pair. And I can still bring on another 2-pair. So let me just give an example here. I have Concentration on its own, which if I get third piece will give me 3 out of 3, and then I can have the Corrupted version separately. There's a nerf to it. It will give you one downside, so this one reduces my damage by 15%, but it is okay because I just run double concentration. Obviously this should be 3 out of 3. It's just a lot of skill cooldown reduction, which is really nice for, you know, a class where you want to be spamming your clouds, your lock-ons, your dash to move, and then just spamming your DPS. So yeah, really nice to have. Lastly, I would just like to cover buffs. So I'm running Grandmaster right now, which is another new boss item. You can run Medusa or Sandworm. All those armor sets are okay. I've also seen people run Anubis. Anubis is fine. It's basically a revival piece that revives you after you die once per level. So this Doombringer, this Grandmaster, what does it do? It gives you damage every time you switch a weapon. So this is basically like when I switch a weapon here, you can see it gives me an extra amount of damage for a short duration. So for a skill like, or for a class like Fast Rider where you swap your hotbar all the time, it's pretty nice to have, but it's a bit hard to manage. So I would say use it at your own preference. I think it's 80% if you max it out, which I don't have maxed out at the moment. So yeah, you can get all damage plus 80%. That's amazing. It's amazing. You can also, yeah, I think that should be everything on the sets. Oh, there is one more thing. There is a new Insane necklace, which is obviously gonna help a lot. I think we've seen it a few times today. It is this, the random G. It's a no-name insane item, and you can see here the Fate Bound gives you a massive boost to strength. This item is dropped by the new corrupted enemies that appear randomly. Your screen will darken and then they will just pop up. If you kill them, there's a small chance you get one of them. They do have randomized Fate Bounds. So there's multiple Fate Bounds it could have. One is Fortio, as you can see in here, is a massive boost to strength. This is the best one by far. It basically gives you like 150 strength plus the 48. It's amazing. It basically gives you an infinite amount of health. It's really useful because it raises your attack damage as well. So if you get this, amazing. If you don't, too bad. It's just really hard to get. But yeah, there are other Fate Bounds. I don't think I'll be able to find one because everyone's just running Fortio if they have one. So yeah, no choice. But I have seen people with different ones like Dexterity, Poison Damage. Just go for the Strength. Strength, best one by far. Okay, so all that cleared, let's talk about how to make Fast Rider a little bit stronger, because it kind of sucks right now. Honestly, like, damage is great, 1.4 million, okay, but other classes do more, right? Elementalist did like 10 million. This one's terrible, it's dog shit. Okay, how do we raise it? Well, we have your basic like buffs, as stated before. So like people know this quite well already. You can like activate a buff, and basically it increases your stats for a temporary amount of time. So there are some options here. The Cowabunga Twin Axes, the Spear, and the Bow, which I'm using right now. There are more, but I didn't really want to show them because I don't find them as useful. There's always this long bow which increases attack speed by a little bit. But essentially, well, it's a funny story. I kid you guys not. While taking this screenshot for what you're seeing above over here, I kind of dropped my axe and then the game went into maintenance and updated. So I just lost my Cowabunga Twin Axes, which makes me really sad. But yeah, I guess I can't demonstrate that for now because I dropped it and the game kicked me out, so it's gone. So yeah, we'll be demonstrating with the spear today. Just a little bit of demonstration. You can see here, if I charge my bow now, I get the buff, and then when I shoot, I get like some extra damage, which is cool. So charging it up, it gives me increased attack speed, and I shoot an extra projectile. Okay, useful. Now, problem is, they don't last that long, and it's pretty garbage, right? This one's 6 seconds, and Spear is 9 seconds when fully charged. How do we make this better? Well, in the new update, of course, they added the Huxar, which basically allows you to add a second version of the Fate Bound, which increases the potency. So what I recommend is that you grab a second full set of buff application. So you can see here I have 3 out of 3 of buff amp, and the cursed version of it. So you can see here I have 3 out of 3 and the cursed version. So what will this do? This will triple the duration of buffs that you collect. So for example, the spear here that I currently have, if I charge it to full, it should now increase to 27 seconds instead of 9 seconds. Now you tell me, okay, 27 seconds, but I have to wear this shit armor and you know it's gonna run out. Well, you can take it off after this, and if it's running low, you can just charge it small and reset. And because of the way that buffs work with weapons, if you do a light charge and let go, it resets the current active duration instead of removing it and adding a new potency. So by doing this, I don't have the armor on, but it still lasts 27 seconds. So I can just attack normally, and once every 27 seconds, slowly charge up and do this. I can do it with both my bow and my spear now, so that's what I'm gonna do. Just switch on my armor. You can see it's no rush, really. Just charge my bow to full, and then charge my spear to full, and then just switch on the armor. And as you can see here, refresh, refresh. Let's do it one more time for good measure. And then you can just use the skills as per normal. Oops, let's do one in the basket. You just recharge once in a while. You can kind of see my buffs on the top left. It's just more than half, and I'm doing great with my duration. You can see I have massive attack speed. Just refresh both for a bit, and then go again. So yeah, that is one way you can buff out the damage. It's great. Does take a little bit of effort. It's way better with the twin axis because it increases your damage by a lot more. So that's good to know. Of course, you can use the same technique for drinks. So you can see down here, the poison drink, well, rage, you can get crit chance, more crit chance if you want. Movement speed, toxic juice, all attainable. They'll give you times 3 duration, so from 300 seconds they give you 900. It's nice. So get a second pair of buff application. It doesn't matter what's on it, just get enough to put it on. Ideally, you want to have 2 pieces, both with all 4 on it, so you don't need to switch on 3 at a time. But it's okay, it works, you know, what works works. So I just run this and it's helpful. Yeah, so those are ways that you can buff it. Unfortunate that I don't have the twin axes. Where can you find these items? The Grandmaster's Heartseeker Bow is a boss item which you can craft, or you just find it here at the Veil. The Cowabunga Twin Axes, which increases your damage by 50%, is found here, I believe, Geolithic Hills, in the daytime. Only in the daytime, Geolithic Hills. And the Tribal Spear, which is the one I have, increases your attack speed and movement speed. This one is found here at the Forest of Tranquility. It might have a day-night restriction, but I don't remember what it is. But that's for you to find out. So those are places where you can find it. I guess one small thing is the bow gives you attack speed as well. You can find that here on the Arid Sands. That's about it. I don't really think any of the others are as important. There is a shield, sword and shield, this one here. Esotech sword and shield. You can use this one too. It gives you 24% regular and extra physical damage for 15 seconds. You can use this one as a buff as well. You can see it absolutely, like, it's great on its own. I'm not even running the buff duration yet, and it's already like really nice. So that's one that you can equip as well. Sword and shields have this typically. I know that the easiest one to get by far is here in the cemetery. You can find plenty of them. The bone sword and shield does the same thing, exact same buff, useful. And I think that's almost everything that you need to know about Fast Rider. I guess the pet, you can always use Yan Yan for every class. It's just 32% flat buff to damage, which is amazing. And yeah, that's about it to Fast Rider. I mean, there could be more methods in the future, but leaderboard is either using all Season 1 gear, Season 0 gear, or they're just going for Dark Airbender. So that's what I recommend for the moment. I don't think there's anything else to really make yourself better in terms of damage. I guess, one thing is that using the buff, like set, you can use these on statues as well. So if I go look for a statue, just go look at, like, I don't know, just randomly go into a lobby and just look for a statue. So let's just look around. There we go, there's one statue over there. Just gonna slowly mind my own business, make my way to the statue. So you can see a necromancy statue here. Usually it lasts 60 seconds, but I can just put on my weaker gear, equip it, and as you can see on the top, I now have a 180-second duration statue with skill cooldown of plus 80%. So that's really nice, and then I can just put my armor back on, and there we go. I keep the buff for 3 whole minutes. That's pretty useful as well. It can raise the stats just by a little bit. You can do this for any class, so that's nice. You can see now my skills are even faster. My Toxic Cloud's even faster. It's just really cool. Okay, so anyways, just gonna demonstrate a little bit on running this. Let me just do my buffs for preparation, and I'll just run to the end of the buffs just to show a little bit of Fast Rider gameplay. And then that's gonna be it. So I hope this guide was useful. If you find more tips, you can let everyone know in the comments. And let me know what you think about this class, because you know, a lot of people are kind of trashing on it at the moment. It looked really hype in the videos, and then it kind of just turned out bad. So it's a little bit hard to discuss, and there's not many people like talking about this class anymore. So let me know what you think, because this class I think is pretty cool, but of course it's under a little bit of not doing too well right now because its damage is kind of bad. And of course Druid Bug is so broken, so it's just being heavily overshadowed by that, which is just kind of sad. So yeah, I mean, maybe he will get a buff, but I really hope that they don't wait for end of season to do it. But if they do, then such a waste. So be it. But yeah, just have a look. Yeah, so, oh yeah, just a bit more about the weapons. This is the Grandmaster bow you're seeing here. I like this bow. You can also go for a Render bow or Soul Calibur. That's the two which I think are the best. Yeah, so there's good movement speed, decent clearing speed with the buffs. Obviously with Cowabunga Twin Axis it'd be way better, way faster. But I don't have that at the moment. So we'll just work with this. Come on, let's get to the end. Alright, boss fight. And yeah, you can see the statue. It's been less than 3 minutes, and the statue is still up, which is really nice. Just very good in terms of usage. I just turn on my buffs before this, and then go crazy. Turn on my cloud, and shoot once or twice, and there we go. It's dead. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. This was my Fast Rider complete comprehensive guide. Not much that you need to know other than this. This is the best way to amp its damage. It's gonna be hard to push on the Valkyrie Dollar, man. Obviously, need to get better Fate Bounce, but I guess I'll post an update if I do reach Carnelian with this set. I do want to push a little bit more, but for now, that's everything I got for Fast Rider. I'll catch you guys later, and let me know what class you want to see next. And I don't know, because I really don't know which class to go for next after I max this one up. But yeah, see you guys.